I'm 16, and I have a 4-month-old daughter. Now my ex wants to go to college. I'm worried. 3 years ago, before anyone says that, yes, I know about condoms, I'm just stupid. So, let's get down to history. My parents divorced when I was 10, mostly I lived with my mother. Tiffany's parents lived together. When our parents found out that she flew in, her parents kicked her out of the house, and my mother kicked me out. Now we live with my father. During Tiffany's pregnancy, my dad sued her mother to get basic and sole custody. I know what it means, because I had to go to court for my daughter. He sued Tiffany's parents to also apply for custody of her, and now they pay alimony for her, get angry and refuse to talk to us. I live in my bedroom, my daughter in my bedroom, and my ex in the guest room, which now belongs to her. My father made a deal with us. We live with him until the age of 18 without rent. At 18 we have to decide what we will do first. I didn't do very well at school, and Tiffany is an excellent student, so I passed the main exams, after which my father sent me to study to be a welder. I will graduate in 2 months. I also work full-time, so I go to welder courses in the evenings. Tiffany goes to school and works in Wendy on weekends. All this is a huge test. We just don't have any life. My father helps, but not so much, because, in his opinion, such a choice is our responsibility, which I agree with, but it's still strange somehow. I work at the warehouse from 6 to 1500 hours, and then for courses from 18 to 2200 hours. Tiffany returns home and picks up our daughter from kindergarten. We help each other, do most things together, and then I go to school, and she stays at home with her until I come home, and so on from day to day. When our daughter was born, my father forced us to go to court, where we divided guardianship 50 to 50, so I don't pay alimony, because she lives with us. Since I work full-time, I can get medical care for myself and my daughter, but this shit costs me $300 a month, and the kindergarten costs $400 a week. In fact, Tiffany works to pay for the kindergarten, and I pay for everything else. If we don't have enough, Dad throws money, because he sees how we try. My dad is our support. When we are too tired and exhausted, he can intervene and give us a short break, but he is sure that we have everything we need, and we only need motivation. Tiffany wants to apply to college in the near future, so I'm worried because I don't want to live with her anymore, and I won't be able to take care of my daughter myself, working as a welder for 12 hours a shift. But she said that she will go to a secondary college and work, and she wants to stay with us until it gets easier. I will work, so the best option for us is to continue living with my dad. At the age of 18, Dad will ask us to pay the rent. She doesn't mind it either, but I don't want to live with her in the same house, because we're not together. I don't know how best to tell her about it. My dad thinks it's better for her to stay with us while she studies full-time, and until she gets a degree, because I've already found my field. It seems to me that all this is not very fair, because all the weight will fall on my shoulders. I think I'm so verboic because I'm scared and I don't understand what it all means. Now we live with her more like siblings. We get along pretty well, we have our jokes and all that, but since she became my ex, it all seems strange. Maybe I just need to breathe out a little and let it all go for a while. Some say it helps. I also needed to hear it from other people, not just from my father, whose word has weight, and it also seems to me that I need to thank him somehow, maybe take him to dinner or something like that. My dad won't kick us out at the age of 18, but he wants us to really look at things and learn to pay the bills. He gives her the money that Tiffany's parents pay, she saves it for a car. She also spends money on clothes and food for herself if she wants something special. Before I became a father myself, my father always wanted me to live with him until I was 18 so that I could save up money and buy a house. When it turned out that I would soon become a dad, he was not angry, but rather disappointed, saying that now everything would change. He pays for my welding courses about $20K, bought me a car, but said that I have to pay for insurance and maintenance myself. He will help as long as he sees that we are trying and not lazy. When the training began, he took our daughter to kindergarten every morning, and also helped Tiffany with her daily chores until the training was over. I need to go to school now. Tiffany wants to become a nurse or a medical assistant, but college said that it's hard to get into the nursing school she wants, and it's best to have a high school diploma, so she's still in high school and working on weekends. Someone mentioned the combined general education college. We will definitely consider it. We couldn't get a state kindergarten because we are minors, and my father's salary was taken into account. It's funny that I can't open a bank account for myself, because I'm a minor, but I can open it for my daughter, because I'm her parents. A joke, of course. I read every comment, consider other points of view. I think it's still quite far to college. As I calculated, it's not so bad. She's like a sister to me. For those who asked, I doubt that we will be together again. To be honest, I don't even think about it now, because I'm too tired. I don't even want to think about relationships or anything like that yet. Tiff and my dad went to an educational institution and were able to enroll her in college courses, because she studies well. Of course, she won't be able to finish school quickly, but she will be able to pass everything she needs and finish high school by next December, that is, 6 months earlier. She applied to the state kindergarten again, we got a place, and now it will cost us $50 a week. She quit her job, so now she can focus on her studies, but she won't go to college until spring. Which is cool, because she will have time to prepare. She wants to be a nurse, which is also cool. I got a new job with more pay, and they offer me an internship, but I won't be able to start it until November/December, because I have to finish my studies and then undergo a 2-month internship, but they pay me well, so I started on Monday, Dad, and I talked about my fears for a long time. He convinced me that it's okay to be afraid, but we have a plan. What we will do, he will equip the basement so that there will be 2 additional bedrooms and a living room, something like a small apartment, because, as he said, Tiff and I are growing up, so we will need a place. He wants me to buy a house when I turn 18, his parents forced him to do the same. He will also help me pay for it as long as Tiff can live there, until he graduates from college or some other life choice. We all agree that this is the best solution. So now I'm much happier. I just had to speak up. Tiff and I feel great in the role of parents, although it's hard, but it's great to feel more confident and protected. My mother and Tiff's parents still don't talk to us because we didn't get married. It upsets me, of course, but we have my dad. Tiff's grandparents bought her a car and said it was all they could do for her. But they wouldn't talk until we got married. The car needs repair, but I'll pay for it. It would be necessary to replace the suspension, brakes and replace the consumables. My dad finally told me what happened between him and my mom, which I didn't know, but he enlightened me. My dad met my mom in high school, and one day they were caught kissing. My mother's family is Baptists, so they forced my father to marry her. I didn't know, but in Missouri parents can marry their children at the age of 15, that's why my dad fought so much for me. They were going to marry me and Tiff, because she is pregnant, but my dad stood up and didn't let him do it. My mom and dad Tiff had the right to do it for us, so they were going to marry us in their church. I think I wouldn't mind marrying Tiff, but they didn't even ask our opinion. My father said that if we get married, he will help us annul the marriage, but so far I have no desire to talk to them. He explained that Tiff is now in a difficult situation, and although I'm scared, she's even more afraid because she has no one. I should assure her that we are her family, so we will be there. It's good that I talked to him, because I wouldn't have thought of it. I hug my dad, now I hug him every day. It brings us together. All this information upsets me a lot and makes me feel gratitude at the same time. It helped Tiff and I communicate and talk more. It's like we talked before, but we didn't talk heart to heart, because I didn't know that she was also afraid. Now it's time for us to be children, as my dad said. At least once a week we hang out with our friends who communicate with us, and on weekends we try to redo everything, because now it doesn't work. For example, we take Jelly for a walk in the park, and we also planted a bed with pumpkins. Jelly seems to have become happier too, and Tiff doesn't look so tired anymore. April 2023. Tiff and I are already 18 years old. I wrote for the first time 2 years ago, so Jelly is already 2. My dad is doing great. He finally found a girlfriend. Of course, he met her at Tiff College. She is a consultant to the admissions committee. Tiff is studying at college to be a nurse. She took care of everything there. So far, her specialty is nursing, but then she will study for a bachelor's degree, so everything is fine with her. I work as a welder now. I earn very well. Tiff and I got together, started dating after the new year, when she kissed me, and we thought it was right, but she explained very clearly that so far we are only dating. So she lives in the basement that we renovated, and I am in my room upstairs, and when she wants to see me, she writes me a message. It's funny, so we do it, and yes, I'm going to marry her. We go to the family counselor 4 times a month, twice online, twice in person, so convenient for our schedule. We thought that a consultation for couples would also help us, but no, I'm not the best conversationalist, and it helped me in difficult times with Tiff and Jelly. I feel like I've grown old in the last 2 years. I definitely don't feel like an 18-year-old. I feel a little older. Jelly is the happiest and most joyful child in the world. She literally illuminates the room with her presence. In a day I think that I can't imagine life without her anymore. She adores Pa. She calls my father that. She keeps him around her finger, and he is happy to pamper and indulge her. I love being her father. I like to take a nap with her. She's Daddy's daughter, my shadow. It infuriates Tiff, but she is also happy. We go on dates to have dinner and go to the movies. Sometimes we just sit in the car, talk and laugh, mostly laugh. My dad has changed a lot. The 4 of us are very close, so he seems much happier. I think his girlfriend breathed life and joy into him again. She loved to insert an instructive remark, like, if Tiff gets angry and goes somewhere, he says, an evil woman always seeks to buy her grudge. Can you afford it? LOL, but he gives such comments all the time. I still don't talk to my mom. I don't even think about how to resume communication. Tiff's parents tried to establish communication with her, but they keep making her feel like shit, so she stopped communicating with them. My dad still wants us to buy a house, but I told him that we don't plan to move out at all, never a little girl. So I told him that I would buy a house when I turned 30, or when Tiff and I got married, but she said she wouldn't buy a house until she graduated and got a job, so no wedding bells for at least 2 more years. If you ask Tiff, she'll say she doesn't plan to get married until she turns 28, so it might take longer, huh? The best dad in the world. To be honest, it was these words that made me wake up. At that time, I perceived everything as a burden. I lived on adrenaline, and, frankly, from the moment she said she was pregnant, until I wrote this post, everything was like in a fog. I was scared and just confused in life. I was tired and couldn't think. The future was vague. Tiff and I talked a lot about the fact that no matter what happens in our future, she is my family, we are the family. When I was 16, I just wanted to be with my family. My mother left, and only me, my father and child, and now a friend were left. I know it sounds selfish, but I thought so. It was all too much for me. Therapy and my father really helped me, if not to accept, but to really find my own way, to be myself and to speak in my own words from my heart. I tried to hide in my shell, but my father's words penetrated into my heart. My dad's girlfriend is pregnant. My dad doesn't know about it, and she doesn't know that he wants to propose. I'm so glad that I need to share with someone, otherwise I'll explode and accidentally give out everything. My dad 38 believes that I won't spoil anything, because he's going to make his girlfriend, let's call her K33, a proposal for his birthday in 2 weeks. I helped you choose a ring, and when everything was ready, I hid it for a whole month. But this weekend that Kay spent with us, she was not in the mood. I don't want to say harm, because it's not, but usually she's an early bird and a chatterbox, but this weekend she seemed to be some other, more tired. I heard my father shouting at me in the basement, "We're leaving," so he just shouted okay in response. I went upstairs to grab something to eat, and then went to the guest bathroom, without even thinking why the door was closed, and there she stared at her pregnancy test. Our eyes met, and I immediately slammed the door. I was waiting for her to come out and say something, but I only heard her sobs, so I knocked. She opened it and said she was pregnant, continuing to sob. My first reaction was a joyful scream, but then I came back to reality. I'm a father who is 18 years old. My father is just starting to live again. I have a daughter, and my father is already a grandfather. She asked me to keep everything a secret. According to her assumptions, she is somewhere in the 9th week. She will make sure again, but most likely yes, I'm finally going to be an older brother. I can't tell her, I can't tell him, although both news are just amazing. I told her that she should wait with such news until his birthday, because he will definitely like it. I know my father, he will be delighted. Maybe he will be scared, but he will definitely be delighted with it. My father helped me become a good father and even a good partner for my girlfriend. He is a great father and grandfather. Now we will be dads together. I can't wait to tell him that. Dad, and you didn't forget to check the diaper. LOL, I'm sorry that I dragged it into the sub, dropped the stone from the soul, but I can't tell my girlfriend, I can't tell my father, my future stepmother. Let's clarify, she is happy about the pregnancy, but she was sobbing because she was surprised and discouraged. She didn't even think that such a thing could happen, because she and her ex couldn't do anything for almost 6 years. And yes, I'm 18, almost 19, my daughter is 2.5, and my girlfriend and I live in my father's basement. I survived a dinner at which Kay suddenly started talking about the child, and my father said something like, "Wow, that would be cool, but we can't do it anymore." He thinks Kay can't have children and even mentioned adopted children or other grandchildren. Well, I'll have to wait with my grandchildren, because I've learned my lesson. We discussed Dad's holiday. Kay's mom will cook his favorite dish. It will all be at our house, because we convinced Dad to have a small party with Kay's parents and her siblings, us and close friends. She thinks she's going to surprise him, but he thinks he won by inviting her family here. I feel that everything is going very well, and I will let everyone know when it happens. But I really appreciate that the forum gives you the opportunity to express yourself. I don't go to Reddit often, as I move to the second shift on the 10th, then I train. I don't know exactly how long it's been since Kay and Dad got married, about 7 or 8 months. He is now experiencing the best moments of his life, although it was not without drama from my mother. When she found out that Dad was going to have a child again, and that he was going to marry another woman, she flew off the coils and started calling him names, at some point almost chasing him. But he didn't really care about it until she got to Kay. That's when he besieged her. I'm not sure what exactly he did, but the last thing I heard was that he went to her house. There are rumors that he threatened to show the church what she was doing and says that not very Christian, and that was enough for her. Kay is supposed to give birth soon. She is 38 weeks pregnant, and I will soon become an older brother for my little sister. As for Tiff, she just kicked her ass for this training. Honestly, She takes 5 courses per semester, which will allow her to pass the exam faster and get a nurse's license. If it continues at the same pace and does not burn out, it will hand everything over at the beginning of next year. After that, she is going to take a 1-year break before continuing to receive a bachelor's degree in nursing, and in the hope that she can do it online, and then also force the hospital to reimburse tuition costs so that we no longer have to pay out of our own pockets. Jelly is doing great, and this fall she will start going to kindergarten, and we are nervous. Because she was always at home with us and we took care of her, and the thought that she is somewhere else, and we do not have full access to her, is really scary. My work turned out to be great. I made a few good friends there and thought about joining the welders union for the sake of benefits and a future pension. However, my superiors do not want me to join the trade union. They offered me to pay more so that I do not join the trade union. This is an alarm bell for me. My father moved to Kay and her parents, and I pay half of the mortgage and the bill for the house, because our goal is to buy a house from my father in the next few years, because this is how we will kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We will save him from the burden of taking care of the house, and also buy housing for me and my family. The therapy is going great. We changed the number of sessions of our couple/family therapy once a month, because during my individual therapy my therapist asked me to be tested for ADHD and depression. I discovered that I really have ADHD, and many things really began to make sense, especially when it came to learning and restlessness. Now I'm taking medicine, and my brain seems to have woken up. I have fewer outbursts of anger. I'm not so easy to get excited, and it helped me and Tiff a lot. Now it's easier for me to express my emotions, rather than letting them just fest inside and create chaos in my brain. I came across the series Wheel of Time and somewhere I saw that the books were better, and then I read the first book. I admit, this is the first time I can honestly say that I'm reading a book. Remembering about high school, I thought that I had never read thoughtfully. Rather, I look into a book, I see a fig. I can't even put into words how much happier we are now. Kay's parents will be grandparents, as they always dreamed of. She treats us with love and respect. They love Jelly. Take her to the park, for entertainment. Only Tiff and I can stop them. We often come to Kay's place, have dinner at her place twice a week, and Jelly can't wait for the baby to be born. We are all excitedly waiting. Tiff and I had a serious talk about another child in the foreseeable future, or it's better to get married. We both agree that we will return to the idea of a wedding when we are 25, then we will talk about reunion with relatives. We don't want to hurry too much. We've already had a hurry. And she wants to focus more on her career and studies, but for now we are discussing marriage within the framework of the privileges that it can give if something happens, as well as because of insurance, house registration, and so on. My dad will be able to help us with the lawyer if we want to register. Our main task now is to take care of Jelly, save money, and we are also planning a trip to Disneyland this summer. I bought my father's house, and Tiff and I got married. February 21st, 2025. Shortly after Christmas, Tiff got very sick. She couldn't get rid of the strange cough, which was only getting worse, and one night everything became so bad that we had to take her to the ambulance, where she was told that she just had a severe respiratory infection. She was prescribed steroids and an inhaler, but the situation only got worse. As a result, she lost consciousness right at the workplace, and she was diagnosed with walking pneumonia and even held in the hospital for 2 days. So serious, at the hospital, she was asked to contact her closest relatives, and they even wanted to call her parents. Father tried to show documents that he was our guardian, but we are no longer minors, so technically we are not close relatives to her. Fortunately, Tiff could talk, and she confirmed that we are her family, but this case really opened our eyes to many things. When she returned home, it took her longer to recover, and during this we decided to discuss our future. And where we are now again, we have entered adulthood. It's time to do something before the fried rooster pecks in one place. We decided to stop playing with the family. Tiff started talking about what she learned at school, wills, powers of attorney, orders, not exactly about this, but rather about the fact that we have a daughter, and although all this is 10 billion% earlier than planned, because we wanted to get married at the age of 28 to 30, we decided that the right step would be to do it now. My father sold me the house we now own. The transaction was carried out through a lawyer and formalized through a law firm. Tiff and I decided to get married in court, but don't worry, I made an offer properly. We were filmed on camera. I washed up and even put on a beautiful shirt with buttons, and I put on a suit to the court. Tiff, a dress, friends and family were with us, and we tried to do everything as special as possible. We plan to get married again, but in 2030, but with a beautiful wedding ceremony. We hope that by that time she will have finished her studies. Maybe we will even go on an adult honeymoon. These are the plans with a 5-year postponement. LOL, since our father moved to live with Kay, it has changed our relationship. We don't live in Dad's house anymore, and although he didn't interfere in our relationship, everything changed. The absence of a parent in the house changes a lot. It helps to grow up, and, as it turned out, this does not really happen if one of the adults is nearby, like, I keep forgetting to buy toilet paper and all those things that seem to always just appear in the house by themselves. As for Dad, Kay, and my little sister, who is already a person, she's amazing. She and Jelly are delighted with each other. Their idealistic appearance made us want to have more kids, but don't worry, it ended quickly. Now we are more stable financially, and in general things are better, but we are not ready to be old enough to have 2 children. LOL. Dad and Kay love each other so much that it's ridiculous, but I'm glad to see him happy. In fact, nothing serious is happening, except for trying to plan a trip to Disneyland, which made us realize how much we miss, including Jelly, so we have several items on the travel list for 2025, maybe car trips, but I don't have a beard yet, and it seems to me that for a car trip Dad, Mom and child it is necessary that Dad has a beard so that he is taken seriously. I don't know, I think so.